This man sleeps on the sidewalk of one of the richest countries in the world. Tonight, he has nowhere to go. This is homelessness in America. How does someone go from having a home to sleeping right here? What you're about to see happens every day in America. These luxury homes is a reality most people never see. This is America's hidden homelessness. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where brick row homes stretch block after block and home values rise and fall with the tides of gentrification, history, and neglect, the story of homelessness unfolds quietly and loudly at the same time, beginning before dawn as the city exhales, and the streets are still damp with the memory of night. Men and women waking beneath overpasses along I-95, near the Schuylkill River, behind SEPTA stations, and in the shadows of neighborhoods where renovated homes sell for prices that feel like a different universe. And as the sun climbs over Center City, the contrast sharpens between polished condos and people packing their lives into shopping carts. And the script follows one long, continuous day and night, weaving voices together into a single human current. A middle-aged man who once worked construction, explaining how a back injury and rising rents pushed him from a modest apartment in Kensington onto the streets. A young woman from North Philly describing couch surfing after her mother lost a home to foreclosure, and how shelters feel safer than some apartments yet more dangerous than the street. An older veteran sitting near City Hall recalling promises made after service that dissolved into paperwork and waiting lists. And as the camera drifts through Rittenhouse Square where luxury buildings reflect the sky, it cuts to the edges where people sleep on benches until security nudges them awake. And the narration never stops, flowing like a thought that cannot be interrupted, explaining how Philadelphia's home values, shaped by redevelopment and uneven investment, quietly squeeze the poorest residents first. How a few $100s difference in rent can become the distance between stability and sleeping outside. And how entire neighborhoods change faster than people can adapt, pushing longtime residents toward cheaper blocks until there are no cheaper blocks left. And midday arrives with soup kitchens opening their doors, volunteers serving meals while conversations reveal pride, shame, humor, anger, and resilience. A man joking about Eagles football while counting the days since his last shower. A mother hiding her fear behind a smile as she lines up with her children, and the city noise swells, horns, sirens. Footsteps, as if Philadelphia itself is arguing with itself about who belongs where, and the script glides past boarded-up houses that once held families and now stand as silent witnesses to economic shifts, past renovated townhomes with fresh paint and security cameras, past vacant lots where tents appear and disappear overnight. An afternoon brings outreach workers moving from camp to camp, offering beds that are often already full, offering resources that require IDs that were lost, stolen or never replaced, and the voices blur together into a shared rhythm of waiting, waiting for housing vouchers, waiting for a call back, waiting for winter to end, waiting for a chance that feels just out of reach. And as evening falls, the city lights turn warm and forgiving for those going home, harsh and exposing for those with nowhere to go. And the script stays unbroken, describing how shelters fill, how some people choose the streets over crowded rooms and strict rules, how mental illness and addiction are not origins but accelerants, turning hardship into long-term crisis. And night deepens as trains rumble underground and people settle into doorways, under bridges in parks, telling stories softly to stay awake, telling stories loudly to stay sane. And the camera lingers on hands, shoes, blankets, faces, and the narrator reflects on how a city proud of its history and resilience carries this contradiction at its core. A place where home values rise as homelessness grows, where prosperity and precarity live on the same block, and the night stretches on, broken only by police lights, outreach vans, and the quiet determination of people who wake up every day without a home yet continue to survive, continue to hope, and continue to exist in a city that sees them and does not see them at the same time, until dawn returns and the cycle begins again. Uncut, uninterrupted, one long breath that refuses to end. As the next morning breaks over Philadelphia with a pale winter light that slips between buildings and settles on sidewalks still marked by cardboard and blankets, the script continues without pause, following the city as it stretches awake again. Sanitation trucks rolling past encampments, commuters stepping carefully around people still sleeping, and the narrative sinks deeper into individual lives while never stopping its forward motion. Introducing a former school bus driver from West Philly, who describes how rising property taxes and a landlord's decision to sell turned a decades-long tenancy into a notice to vacate. His voice steady but distant as he explains how quickly a missed paycheck becomes a missed rent payment, and how quickly missed rent becomes homelessness. And the camera drifts toward neighborhoods like Fishtown and Brewery Town, where coffee shops glow warmly inside buildings that were once factories or low-income housing. The narration reflecting on how revitalization brings jobs and beauty but also displacement, and how home values in Philadelphia, praised in real estate listings as up-and-coming, translate on the ground into stress, eviction filings, and overcrowded apartments where families double and triple up until even that collapses. And midday unfolds again with libraries becoming unofficial refuges where people charge phones, wash up in bathrooms, and read quietly to feel normal for a few hours. A young man scrolling through job listings explaining how an address is required for employment, how employment is required for housing, and how the loop feels impossible to break. And the script keeps flowing through clinics where outreach nurses treat infected feet and chronic illnesses worsened by exposure, through courtrooms where eviction cases are processed in minutes, through nonprofit offices overwhelmed by need, and through the voices of residents who fear the tents near their homes but also fear becoming unhoused themselves, admitting that one medical bill or rent increase could push them over the edge. And as afternoon slides into evening again, the story widens, showing how homelessness is not a single story but a spectrum, including seniors priced out of fixed incomes, youth aging out of foster care with nowhere to land, immigrants working informal jobs and avoiding shelters out of fear, and people battling invisible illnesses that make stability fragile. And the narration never judges, only observes, describing how the city spends millions on emergency responses while permanent housing lags behind demand, how shelters offer safety but not always dignity, and how dignity, once lost, is the hardest thing to reclaim. And night returns with colder air, the script lingering longer this time on the emotional landscape, on the quiet panic of choosing where to sleep, on the calculations of safety versus warmth, on the exhaustion of being seen as a problem instead of a person. And the camera moves past luxury high-rises advertising rooftop views, while under the same skyline people huddle beneath awnings, the narrator noting how the same market forces that inflate property values also compress human lives into smaller and smaller margins. And hours pass in the dark as conversations drift from regrets to hopes. A woman whispering about wanting to reunite with her children once she has housing. A man promising himself tomorrow will be the day he gets clean. Another laughing softly at a joke, because laughter still works even when nothing else does. And as dawn approaches once more, the script reflects on Philadelphia's identity as a city of brotherly love and hard truths, asking without asking how love is measured, by prices per square foot, or by how a city protects its most vulnerable. And the morning light returns again, relentless and honest, revealing the same people, the same streets, the same contradictions, and the script continues to flow, emphasizing that homelessness here is not an anomaly but a mirror, reflecting economic choices, policy decisions, and collective priorities. And it ends this extended movement not with resolution but with persistence, showing people rising from the ground once again, folding blankets, adjusting coats, stepping back into the current of the city. Surviving another night in a place where homes grow more valuable every year while human shelter remains uncertain. And the breath of the story keeps going, unbroken, because for those living it, there is no cut, no fade to black, only another day beginning.